Soul, the brand new Pixar film, which of course was originally meant to be in theaters, but because you know what, they decided like, hey, look, you know, we have a lot of these photos over here, movies for next year. We need to buy some bullets. So Pixar, you go streaming service, and we'll like and put it out for Christmas. Have something for the family you watch, okay? Yeah, it's essentially that what basically probably happened, and I just finished watching the movie, and I will say this: it is not the best of the Pixar films. It's not The Incredibles. It's not one. It's not Toy Story or 2, 3, or 4. It's not a Monsters Inc. It's not Finding Dory. I actually quite like Finding Dory. Finding Nemo. It's not this film. This film. This film. It's okay. It's not Cars. Cars is those films that you're like, why do they keep making them, right? And yeah, 8-year-olds like them, but still. But Soul is just okay. It's in that middle tier, right? And I think what the main issue with the film is like it's a film that's trying to deal with these life and death questions initially, or subject matters to explore, right? About the afterlife and what happens when we die, and the meaning of life, and making every second count, the short period of her life, and all these things that happen that we probably have kind of maybe questioned maybe once or twice in our lives, right? About what happens to us after we die, and the artifacts of it, and us reflecting on our lives in a certain way. But the thing is, with that, you're like, okay, Pixar, not afraid to dive into, mature stuff, they might dive into it a lot. The thing is with this movie, it's surfacing these subjects, but not really diving into it really, because what you have is a plot that you're like, okay, that's cool. That simple plot about a guy who is a music teacher who got a jazz gig out. He's got a jazz gig and out excitement. He doesn't look where he's going, and he dies, and he's in the afterlife, and he is trying to get back to his body. Simple premise, right? But even with that, and even if the characters like trade true to Fraser's character, even with that, they don't dive into it. It's just a premise of itself, really. It's just like, be careful, we have a little amount of time. Yeah, we know that, but dive into it. Oh, life is very important. Yeah, but dive into it. Yeah, they don't really dive into it. I don't know, maybe the idea of like, we're Disney, so don't dive into like, because, the moment you do the whole thing of what do we do, what happens to us before we die, it kind of crosses a certain religion mindset of it. Like, is there heaven? Is there hell? Is there Buddha? Is it this? Is it that? What religion is true or not? And mainly because I don't want to cross that line, they kind of just like, let's service it. I mean, like, there's even stuff that happens with even the characters where you have, 22, who's like, oh, like, she's a soul who hasn't entered into a body yet, and 22 is like, oh, what's the point of life? I get it, but I don't want to be in a body, but, I mean, it's all hurtful and this and this and this. What's the point of it? And and they, of course, try to reveal that she is going to, find the meaning of life. And it kind of goes mad, really. And also, there's a film that kind of switches its, it is a premise and switches, and it slowly becomes two different films, and it just doesn't, I don't know, while watching it, it's never really clicked. This film never really clicked with me. Now, the jazz aspect of things, and, when we are at New York, and when it's diving into New York culture, definitely the African American New York culture, and all that kind of stuff. It's really well put down, really well put together. But it's like the moment it does, and there's some good moments in this movie, good emotional moments. But the main plot itself doesn't really hook in that way. Um, I it's it's that weird thing, right? It's Pixar. Yeah, you're meant to say, did it make you cry? No, but not every Pixar movie needs to make me every cry. Not every Pixar film needs to be the accelerator from Toy Story 3. Or the first 5 minutes are up. Like, let's be honest, not every film needs to be that. So it's like a, and the performances are good. Jamie Foxx does a good job. Tim Frey does a good job. It's a movie that has its premise, has the themes that it wants to dive into, but it doesn't. It feels very surface level. It doesn't feel that they diving into it that